everyone, and welcome to episode 83 of the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra, and this is a crafty podcast about crochet and knitting and sewing. And you can find the show notes for this episode on my blog, which is cherryheart.co.uk. It'll be on the podcast tab. Or I will link it below if you're watching on the web. You can just use the little information box below and click on the link there. You can find me elsewhere around the web as Cherry Heart, and I'm Sandra Cherry HRT on Instagram. That was a struggle, wasn't it? So how are you? It's been ages. Didn't quite mean it to be this long, but you know, life. It's snowing today. I'll just pop a little video in. I videoed me coming up to the office because it's actually snowed. We don't get a massive amount of snow here, which is why I'm bothering to tell you about it. I know this will be decidedly unamazing for many of you who get a lot more snow than we do, but yeah, we generally get a snow sort of at least once a year, but not always. So anyway, that's by the by, not very interesting. So I'm going to crack straight on with it because I don't really know what else to do. It's been a while since I podcasted, so of course I've lost my whole thread of what I was talking about previously, if anything, and we'll just start afresh. I do know I've got a couple of finished objects here that I know I spoke about on the podcast before, and I think they were nearly finished before, so I'll very quickly skim over those. Let's get some blockers, because you know, I haven't done anything as organised as sort them out first. Just quickly whip one on a blocker to show you. So these ones featured in the last episode, so I've spoken about them before. Just a vanilla sock pattern, because the yarn is lovely and it doesn't need anything else going on. That looks horrendous. It's not sitting on there nicely because they've been all folded up, but anyway, you get the idea. These are my birthday socks. I started them in January. Did I finish them in January? I think I might have just about finished them in January as well. Yes, I just really love and adore the colours of these. I think these might be my favourite self-striping socks ever. The yarn was was by Down Sheepy Lane, and it was called Huga, which I'm probably not saying right, but it is that Danish word that I'm sure you know what I'm trying to convey. But yes, I love these. So like I say, I won't talk much about those. If there's anything else you want to know, I'll link, I'll put everything in the show notes as I always do. Or you can go watch a previous episode if you really want to, if you're that dedicated to the cause. And then the other item is this, which is my laptop bag. Now I think I had the main part of this assembled last time we spoke, so I did my English paper piecing hexagons, and then I've added some linen and some applique hearts to the bottom. I think the only thing I had to finish was this sort of binding to finish off the top and put the handles on, and that's done, and I've been using it and it's brilliant. It's a nice fit, thank goodness. And yeah, it does just the job I wanted to do, which was makes it easier to bring up here because it's easy to carry, and also it kind of looks a bit prettier because I generally just have it sitting around somewhere. And I'm particularly pleased with these handles actually. I used a heavier, I think it's called duck cotton, that I had, which I believe came from Laura Ashley. I had leftovers anyway from something. Yes, and I made these. I started sewing them up and I thought they were going to be a disaster, and I'd made them too thin and not long enough. I think I made them as long as I had, the length of material I had, so that was as long as I could possibly make them. and I thought I'd gone horribly wrong. But actually, once I got them finished and sewed on, once I sewed this little line down the edge, they were looking really messy. But once I got that line sewed on, they looked really neat and professional. And they work, they're a really nice feel to them. They feel strong and sturdy enough, because the laptop's quite heavy when it's in there, so it's quite a lot of weight in the bag. But these actually do feel, they feel up to the job, so that's good, because I thought it was all going to go horribly wrong at the last minute, and that's the worst, isn't it? But luckily it didn't. And then pretty much the only thing, well, the only two things I've been working on, the first one is this. Since we last spoke, I believe, yes, I've started this since the last podcast, so you haven't seen it before, but it's already finished. And it's a whole jumper, which I only mention in that boastful way because it's very unlike me and I'm quite pleased with myself. So this is a pattern with another name that I'm probably going to not say incredibly well. Trescow, maybe Trescow. It's by, I know her Instagram name is Along with Anna, and her actual name, presumably Anna, something has completely fallen out of my head now. Oh, I'll put it below, and links in show notes, yada yada, the usual. But yes, I noticed this around Christmas time. It came on Instagram, I saw it. And she'd done a collaboration with Eden Cottage Yarns, which is what I made mine out of. And I think they were sort of advertising that they were having the yarns in their shop for an update sometime around Christmas. Might have been just after, I don't know. Anyway, I thought, oh, that'll make a nice little birthday treat for me. I'll have that for my birthday, and that could be my nice relaxing January knit. Which didn't happen at all. January ended up being really busy and full on. So my February has kind of been the January I wanted in actual fact. It's sort of quietened down a lot more in February. And of course we've just had like a half term, the week's half term, and my girl, she's older now, so it's not like I have to be available to her all the time for her entertainment purposes like I used to be. So I could get things done, but to be honest, it's nice to take that a bit of a break myself as well, because if I don't take it when she has her holidays, I just don't take them, to be honest. So I like to sort of give myself a little bit of time and just hang out with her. It is quite nice. She still is happy to hang out with me. She'll perhaps have some time doing other things, or perhaps even on her own, but mostly she's we still hang out together and do stuff together, so it's quite nice. Anyway, the point being is, I guess that's part of why I haven't been around so much in February, but it has been a nicer, more relaxing month, which I felt I've really needed, to be honest, so that's good. Anyway, the basic upshot of all of that is that I got an amazing amount of knitting done on my jumper. In fact, I just cast it on, and it's from the top down. I think I just cast the net, and I had like barely an inch, and I cut my finger in the kitchen, and it was a bit of a yucky one. So I had it all plastered up and everything, but I couldn't crochet, but I could knit okay. So I ended up just knitting because I couldn't do anything else, and I just powered through this because it was my only knit on the go, and I was being, I didn't have anything else to spend my attention on. So yeah. What else was I going to say about it? Yeah, and just it was really lovely knit. Maybe because I was sort of seeing such good progress on it, that really helped as well. But it's quite simple. There's nothing to, sort of, there's nothing on the pattern that you sort of get stumped on, that your brain reads it and goes, what now? I'm going to have to think about this. It's all fairly straightforward and easy, and as a consequence it was just a really lovely project to work on. Yes, that's it. I'm going to show you. That's what I was going to do. Here we are. Here it is in all its glory. What I'm wearing at the moment doesn't really show it off to its best ability, but as it was snowing I thought I'd put my jeans on today anyway. Just give you, it's got quite a nice little bit of positive ease to it, and it's got this nice little sort of comes down slightly low at the back, which I really love. And yeah, I thought I'd knit the sleeves super duper long, but actually with this top underneath they're not, you know, I thought they'd be down here somewhere, but actually they're not too long at all, are they? I could have blocked them a little more maybe even. Yes, but as you can see, just a really nice, simple, functional jumper. I'm going to wear it with a skirt, you see, so it's a bit of a, it's quite a cropped jumper. If I was wearing it, or if I was knitting it normally and wearing it with jeans, I would have had it quite a bit longer. As it is, I did add a little bit of length to the body, but I think this is just sort of sitting on the top of the hips is where I want it, because I'm going to wear it with a skirt. A couple of skirts. Let me sit down again. I've got a couple of skirts that I think it will look really nicely in a sort of dress that I think it will sit over nicely. So I think when I'm wearing it with what I intend to wear it with, I think the length will work really well. But because I enjoyed making it so much, I would definitely make this again, and I could make like a longer version then, which I think would be really nice and I could wear with other things. So yeah. I really like the neckline as well. I like that there's a scoop and it's quite open, but it just sits really nice. I'm really happy with it. Oh, hello, I've got a visitor come through the snow. 1 second. Oh, he's all wet from the snow. I know. You don't like being wet from the snow, do you? I left him down there because hubby is at home today and he didn't seem particularly inclined, and as it's snowing and he doesn't like getting his paws and his belly wet, I thought he wouldn't want to come out, but obviously the strain of being apart from me was just too much, wasn't it? Did you have to come and see me? Did you? Yeah, are you going to go and sit in your bed then? Because you're a bit soggy. Go and dry out. What else was I going to say about this before the dog came up? Oh yes, the yarn. So Eden Cottage yarns, as I said, and it's 2 yarns held together. So it was... so there's the lace is a fluffy mohair, I think that's called Eldwick lace, and the other yarn I got, I can't remember the name of, but it'll be linked, it's all linked in my Ravelry pages and so on, so if you want to know the name of the yarn. But yes, I know the colour was stone cropped. I got 2 of each to start, which was correct for the size I wanted to make, but it was right up the top end. And I do remember at the time umming and ahhing whether I should get more, but I thought, oh no, that's what the pattern says, that's what I'll stick with. But once I'd sort of made like the yoke part, I'd like used up a whole ball of yarn pretty much. And I thought, oh, well, this is never going to be enough to, you know, 2 of each is never going to be enough. So I thought I'll have a quick look on the shop. And they did have some more with the same dye lot. So on Eden Cottage it's quite good because they do actually have the lot numbers on there. So I thought, do you know what, I might grab an extra ball of each because it's the same dye lot and because it's there just in case. And I'm glad I did. I think the pattern is correct and I think the yardage would have been right, because I only just went a little bit into my 3rd ball. I didn't need a 3rd ball of the lace at all. I would have been fine with just 2 of those either way. But I just went a little bit into the 3rd bit of lace. But I extended the body length and I extended the sleeve length. So I think if I hadn't, I would have been fine with just 2 as it turned out. But like I say, I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have dared extend the length if I didn't have that extra ball sitting there and knowing I had plenty, and then I would have run the risk of not being entirely happy with it. So it was worth getting it. And I've still got, as I've got quite a lot, like a whole, I can't talk, a whole lace skein left and a lot of the 4-ply left, I can just put them together and make something else. So it's not a terrible thing that I've ended up with more, because it's just absolutely gorgeous to knit with, absolutely lovely, and the colour is adorable. It's just the most softest sort of warm pink. sort of a muted pink. Yeah, so the colour is perfection, so I'm not worried that I ended up spending more on it, because it's not going to be wasted, so that's fine. So that's all the finished objects out of the way. Now the other thing that I've been spending most of my time working on when now my finger's back in action, and before it went out of action, is the big beast, the big white blanket beast. Now this is featured on the podcast regularly. We've talked about it a lot. If you want all the backstory about where the idea came from, please see previous podcasts. I'll try and find the relevant one and link it in show notes in case you really want to know, but I'm just going to gloss over that because we can't go through the same old thing every time. Anyway, here it is. As you can see, it's quite vast now, but the main part of the blanket is now complete. This is it kind of sideways on. I kind of imagine the pattern like being the right way up is that way to my mind. Yeah, so it's kind of turned out bigger than I planned, actually. Which is fine. It's just it perhaps didn't need to be quite so big. It's I could put this on my double bed, so I don't normally, like, I have it over widthways, but I don't have it like all the way up and over the pillows, so this would be big enough for how I use it. So it's a very good size. It's kind of the largest size that I would make in a blanket, pretty much. Yeah, but I was going for sort of more of a large lap size, really, a bit more middling. But it was dictated by the numbers. I've spoke about this before, so again I won't go into it, but the pattern repeat for this is obviously quite large because, you know, that's a whole repeat, and then you've got these bits on the ends as well. And then the way the border works out is also another large pattern repeat, so the places where they match up are few and far between, and because of it being, the border is actually going to be, instead of worked in the round, it's going to be worked back and forth in rows, and it's an applied border. So because of the way that works out with the stitch count, finding a combination that worked, there was one basically, and even that's a couple of stitches out, but that was the closest and the best, so I went with that size because it was kind of dictated by the numbers. It's weird, isn't it, because normally, I don't know if you ever do this sort of thing and fiddle around with the numbers of pattern repeats and things, normally you'll find a place where the rhythm will kick in, and on the rows it does, you know, the rhythm kicks in, and then every so many repeats of this blanket will work out to so many repeats of the border easily and lovely, and that's all fine. But when you've got to fit the border along this side, that's where the nightmare begins. And yeah, it doesn't ever seem to fall into a rhythm, which is really weird. I've never known that before. It's just the numbers are, I don't know what they are. They're not playing together nicely anyway, so there's limited sort of scope for getting them to do what you want to do. You kind of have to do what they want to do. Does that make any sense? Probably not, and probably dull as dishwasher. But anyway, if you were following this tortured progress, I'm glad to say that it's progressing very well now, and the pattern is really getting there. If you were here last time I podcasted, it was quite some time ago, I did put a shout out for testers, so thank you so much to everyone that offered to test. I know I haven't even been back to everyone in the thread yet. I tried to get back to as many people as I can, and then I know some more came through after that. So if I didn't get back to you and you offered to test, please know that I am extremely grateful. It is very much appreciated, and I'm so sorry I didn't get back to your message personally on this occasion. I normally would. But yes, I did get some testers that have gone through the test piece, and yeah, I'm really happy with their results actually. It's certainly not the easiest pattern in the world. it's pretty much an advanced pattern, I would say, but I'm going to put help in, and you know, as I always do with my patterns, I try to put lots of extra sort of information in to try and make it as accessible as possible. So I think, like, if you're kind of a confident, like if you're in that intermediate zone and you're sort of quite confident you could tackle something, you know, a little challenging, then yeah, I think it'll be right. So what I'm trying to say in an incoherent way, as per usual, I think this is an advanced pattern, but I'm going to try and put enough extra help in the pattern to bring it into the realm of intermediate crochet level. So that's my aim anyway. And I think from the testing that should be possible, because the testers didn't have the help and they actually managed really well. They weren't sure, but actually they knew what they were doing. They were like, is this right? And I'd go, yeah. And they go, oh, okay then. So it's just, you need that bit of confirmation that you're on the right track, because it's a little bit odd, I think. So if I can just put that sort of reassurance in the pattern, I think people will be okay, hopefully. But I don't think it's a beginner pattern by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. So, I mean, this bit's fairly simple. If you wanted to do this and put some other sort of border on it, this bit would be simple enough. But I think putting the border on it's a bit tricky. But hopefully I'll make it easier. I'm getting annoyed with myself because I feel like I'm using like 100 words when 10 will do here all the time. Glorious waffle, as Ali, Little Drops of Wonderful, she always says about how, you know, the waffling. I feel I'm doing a lot of waffling this time. Hello, lovely Ali, by the way, if you're watching. Have I said everything I want to say about this? I think so. Anyway, I'm very grateful to my testers that have tried my little guinea pig teeny sample for me and helped me sort of really work through some of the teething problems anyway. So that's what I wanted to say. So thank you, thank you, thank you to those lovely people. And so yes, it's really coming together now at last, which is good. Obviously I've still got to actually finish it myself and get those last bits. There's some more photos I need to finish off the pattern and get that together, but hopefully I'll be able to release it when I get this done, so, or around the same sort of time, which will be good. So I know some of you are waiting for it, so I'm sorry my process is incredibly slow, but I don't seem to work any other way than slow lately. Right, well, let's move on to what else I've got in my little basket. There's this on the go. There's not really a lot to show you with this at the moment. So this motif was inspired by another vintage pattern like that one. This one came off a shawl that I was given by my nan. Again, I think I might have showed you this, the little motif at least, and the shawl previously. And it's not done in this usual crochet technique. I believe it is crochet, but it looks like some kind of broomstick crochet style, or hairpin lace style. It's very reminiscent of that with the big long loops, but it doesn't fit into either of those categories. It's very odd. Me and Sam came round from lovely Betsy Makes, hello Sam, and we were kind of poring over it and trying to make out what it was, but we're not quite sure. But anyway, so I've kind of converted it into a regular just crochet stitches so I could make some more, because I don't know quite how I would recreate that technique, which I assume, well, I don't know, it's obviously handmade, but I don't know if my nan handmade it or someone made it and gave it to her. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, either way, I didn't feel I could recreate it. So this is my version of that motif with regular crochet stitches. And my plan, I think this would make an absolutely glorious bedspread as well, by the way. But how many white bedspreads can one person need? My plan is to actually have this up as a little bit of kitchen window dressing. Clearly I haven't got very far with it yet, but I've got some, in my kitchen I've got like these slatted sort of Venetian blind style things, but they're so old and ancient and rickety, and they've got really yellowed in the sun, and I just want to take them out. So I was just going to have this as, you know, I don't need a curtain, I don't need a blind in there, so I just wanted sort of a little something to decorate the top. So I was going to have this hanging in the top. Does that sound completely off the wall, or does that sound okay? I thought it would look okay, but we'll see. So yeah, so this is my, as far as I've got with it. I'm kind of, yeah, the more now I've got a few more together. I only had a couple. I've recently added some more on, and the more I see it, the more I just want to turn it into a blanket, to be honest. But never mind. So the yarn I'm using for this is a new yarn from Starcraft, and I'll perhaps go into a bit more detail about that next time. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to showing you and sharing that with you, because it's fantastic. But I need some more yarn before I can finish this. This is all I have been able to make so far. I did consider doing it in crochet thread, but I just prefer this at the minute. So, although, you know, that's also good, but I just wasn't feeling the thread for that particular project. And then the last thing that I've got on the go is some socks, which I've been having a heck of a time with. Let's see how they look on here. After I finished my jumper, I really just wanted to knit another jumper. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the project, so I wanted to knit something else, but I didn't have another sort of garment pattern ready to go. I don't know, it takes me a little while to get my head into gear about doing that. And I haven't got really many quantities of yarn of all in one colour. I've got a lot of individual skeins of things, but not a lot in one colour. So yeah, so I needed something else to knit, so I just cast on a sock, and this has been in my queue for a long time. So I thought I would do this one, and Easter is sort of coming-ish. It's a little way away yet, I know, but yeah. So these are the bunny socks by Jules of So Sweet Violet. Hello, lovely Jules. I hope you're doing okay. Yes, I like how these are coming out, but I'm not very happy with my colour choices. I've got a load of minis in here from Herbsplatt Regina. I don't believe she's dying anymore. Look at that. Isn't that glorious? Yeah, I don't think she's actually dying anymore. But I had quite a few of hers, and I really like her yarn for socks because it's a 4-ply, but it's quite a plump, squishy 4-ply, so it gives a really nice, tight, firm texture for a sock, which I really like. But I prefer to kind of use it on its own and not mix it too much with other mini skeins, because they tend to be a bit sort of thinner, and so you get a different kind of texture from the sock. I did do the cuff in something else, but yeah, so I've tried to do it all from these minis that I've got already, but I'm just having a little bit of trouble getting the colours to sit together the way I wanted to. It's one of those things where they're all glorious in their own right, and some of them sit together beautifully and some of them just don't. So this one I'm not happy with. I love it, it's gorgeous and pretty, but I don't love it in this sock. And this one I'm not happy with, it's lovely, but it's a bit murky to go with these sort of bright and shiny spring colours I've got. I've got quite a few pinks, but I don't want the whole sock to be pink. That bit I love. happy with that bit. I'm not sure after that. This one is lovely. Like maybe if that one came out, then it just looks a bit yellow, pink, yellow, doesn't it? Maybe I should have just gone with that. Yeah, I've been having a few struggles with it. I did have a different colour in here. It was a purple. I thought it was going to work, but it ended up looking really garish and bright. So I ripped that out and put this one in. And I did have a different colour planned in here, but then it was too similar to this, so I changed that. You know, I didn't undo the knitting. This one I had to undo all the knitting. This one I just was swapping around before I put them in, but now I've got it in. I don't particularly love it. So yeah, so they're making me a little bit sad because this pattern is so cute and I don't feel that I'm doing it justice here. So I almost don't really want to continue with these. I don't know what to do. Yeah, don't know what to say about that. Oh, only that the pattern is actually written toe up. I know that's how Jules prefers to make her socks and usually does make her socks that way, but I'm a cuff down kind of girl, so I'm just doing it cuff down anyway. Obviously I'm just sort of sticking in the leg bit, and I just did Jules put one of her Go Day heels in, but I'm just doing a heel flap and gusset because I'm going top down. I didn't know how to reverse that and couldn't bother to think about it, so I just put in the heel I know. But yes, so I put in the leg bit in the leg and the foot bit in the foot, but I'm changing the end and middle and the direction. But it will still look more or less the same. It's just the colours. That's where I'm sort of a bit stumped. There's some lovely ones in here, like this one that I showed you to come. And this one. And this one. In fact, I think the foot half will be stronger than the top half. But I haven't got enough. These are only 10 grams. I didn't think I'd have enough to do 2 stripes on both socks, but maybe I would. That's how much is left after doing that. Maybe I would. Maybe I should just repeat the colours a bit more. Oh, that's made me want to start again. What I might do is start the cuff, do these 3 colours that I'm happy with on the other sock, and then see how much I've got in my 10 gram minis after that. Yeah, I might do that because I feel like this is, you know, it's lovely, but it's not quite what I had in mind. So that's all my projects that I've done, projects I'm doing. Normally now I would talk about patterns in progress, but I kind of covered that when we talked about the Big Beast because that is the pattern I have in progress at the moment. And then incoming goodies. I have got one thing, but I left it down at the house. I can't be bothered to get it. But I don't think I brought any. This was probably the last yarn that I brought. I might have even told you about it in the last incoming goodies, I can't remember. Yeah, so nothing doing there really. And I've got no little vlog to put on the end because I haven't been doing any of that either. I don't know. What have I been doing with my time, I wonder? Living and doing life stuff. That's what I've been doing. Just generally getting on with things that aren't very interesting to relay to the wider world. That's it from me, and I shall hopefully see you next time, and hopefully I shan't be leaving it so long. I normally podcast every other week when I'm kind of in my groove, so hopefully I'll be getting back to that again now. So thank you for being with me, thank you for watching as always, it's very much appreciated. And I hope you get some lovely time to enjoy some crafty moments. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Go on. Good boy. Go on in your bed. Go sit down. Go on in your bed, look. In here. Go. In. No, get in your bed. Go on in your bed. Oh. Go on, you do it. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Right, no, get back in.